you struggling with feeling overwhelmed all the time and you just don't know how to fix it? Well, you are in luck, because in today's video, I'm going to explain to you and give you a breakdown of the overwhelm cycle and how you can actually start to move through that. So make sure you stay till the end of the video, because at the start, I'm going to explain the overwhelm cycle, break it down, and then towards the end, we get into how to overcome it. So make sure to stay till the end. Hi, my name is Taylor and I am a young Aussie girl with a big dream. I want to change the education system of the world, but whoa, that is a huge task and it's going to take a lot of time, so I'm starting with my YouTube channel and educating people that way. Anyway, enough about me, let's get to it. But before we dive in, please, can you make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you get weekly notifications as to when I put out new content. It's going to be videos about everything to do with mindset, personal development, basically how you can become the best version of you possible. So make sure to subscribe. Okay, now let's dive into the episode. Okay, so there are basically 4 parts to the overwhelm cycle, which I'm going to explain to you now. At the very start, at the top, when you're feeling fine, you're in flow, everything is going well, you're working, you're productive, you're feeling great, that's at the very top of the circle, right? The next stage down is when you start to feel a little bit overwhelmed. You maybe start to feel a little bit of guilt or shame that you are feeling so amazing, or maybe you start to feel a little bit lazy because everything's flowing, you've been doing so much work, so okay, I might deserve a little rest. Or if you're feeling a little bit of guilt, you're thinking, oh, I'm working too much, maybe I'm not spending enough time with my family, or whatever it is. But basically these destructive thoughts start to come into your mind and start to break down your positive and happy and productive mindset. The next step, the third step in the overwhelm cycle, is when you're really feeling overwhelmed. So it's when you're paralyzed, it's when you feel like you can't do anything, you feel like you don't want to work, you just want to sleep, you just want to, whatever you're doing, it's that feeling of complete overwhelm. Maybe your heart is racing, or maybe your throat feels tight. Your overwhelm will definitely show up physically in your body. So you might get a headache, like your temples might be aching, you might get a tight throat, your heart will race, whatever it is, it will show up physically in your body. And then the fourth part of the overwhelm cycle is basically your coping mechanisms. What do I mean by this? Think about when you're feeling overwhelmed. What do you do? For me, when I feel overwhelmed, I stop working. I want to lay in bed all day and eat brownies and ice cream. That is my coping mechanism, because I'm an emotional eater. Anytime I feel super emotional, if I get very worked up or I feel overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, I need some chocolate brownies and ice cream. That's just like my thing. Anything actually chocolate or yum, anything. Any yummy food, basically. I'm like, yes, I just need food, because that is my coping mechanism. Some people do the opposite. Some people don't eat when they're super overwhelmed or when they're feeling stressed. Some people feel like they need to go out partying and get super drunk or take drugs. Whatever it is, basically the fourth step in the overwhelm cycle is when you use your coping mechanisms, right? Once you start to use your coping mechanisms, you're feeling a little bit better. You're thinking, oh, maybe I should start to get back into it. And then you eventually get back to the top of the circle, right? Where you're feeling good and you're productive. So it's like this big circle that continues to go around and around and around of feeling good, starting to feel guilty or maybe a little bit lazy, feeling overwhelmed, doing your coping mechanisms to deal with your overwhelm, then back to feeling good. And it's just like this vicious circle that keeps going around and around and around. So how can we break this down? What we need to do is we actually need to start recognizing the behavior that we start doing when we're getting to stage 2. What are those trigger points that are making you get towards the feeling of overwhelm? What are the trigger points that are making you get towards step 2 of the overwhelm cycle? The trigger points for me when I start to feel really overwhelmed is when I don't organize myself and all my day, all my work, anything that I'm doing. So it feels like it's super hectic because there's so many things to do. I haven't written a list. I'm just doing little things left, right, and center. There's no structure. There's no anything in my day. It's just like hectic, go, 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 just doing random little things all over the shop that aren't really productive or getting me towards that big goal or achieving whatever I'm trying to achieve. So that's something that really triggers me, is when I don't have a structure, I don't have a plan, and there's too many things to do, so it starts to feel overwhelming. Now, after I get to this point, for me, then that's when I'm like, okay, I can't do anything. I get like paralyzed. I'm like, I can't do this. I just need to watch Netflix. I can't talk to anyone. I just want to eat. That is my progression to my overwhelm cycle, right? Now you need to sit down and have a think about what are the trigger things, or what are the things and the actions that you start to do that get you towards that third step of that really feeling super overwhelmed. Like, what is getting you to that point? What are the actions that you're doing in step 2, the in-between step? Now, after you've made that list, we need to look at how we can prevent those things from happening. So, for example, with me, when I start to feel really super overwhelmed, it's because nothing's structured and there's so many things to do, and I feel like I can't cope with the workload that I have, right? So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, to prevent me from getting to the 3rd and the 4th step, what I do is I actually have figured out what things to do that help me feel like I'm taking back control. So for me, it's writing lists. I need to sit down and write a list of the top 5 things that I need to get done that day, the high priority things that need to get done. They could be little things. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny little thing, but whatever it is for that day, what's the really high priority things that need to get done? Just 5. Maybe 3 if you're feeling super, super overwhelmed. What are the top 3 things that you need to get done that day? Then I just do those things. And that really, just actually taking the action helps me to feel like I'm so much less overwhelmed, because I'm like, okay, I've structured my day out, I'm getting things done, and it really helps me to stop getting from the 3rd and the 4th stage of overwhelm. For you, it could be something different. It might be meditating. It might be taking a walk around the block and simply just clearing your mind, listening to some music, getting some sunshine, and just taking a walk around the block. It could be playing with your dog in the backyard. Whatever it is, once you're looking at your list as to what the trigger points are to get you to your overwhelm, think of counter actions that will stop you feeling those trigger points. Is this making sense to you guys? Let me know in the comments below if this is making sense. If it's not, I will make another video and explain it a little bit better, but let me know in the comments below if this is making sense. Now, these are obviously habits that you have built up over years and years and years of programming. So it is not going to happen straight away. It's going to take practice. The first time you're feeling super overwhelmed, you might look at the list and think, no, fuck that, I'm not doing that. That is totally fine, because the next time you might think, okay, I didn't do it last time, maybe I should try it this time. Maybe I should try to do one thing off the list that is going to stop me feeling a little bit more overwhelmed. And then maybe the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, you'll do 2 things off the list. What I'm trying to say is this is a habit that has been ingrained in you for a very long time. So to reprogram your mind, your conscious and your subconscious mind, is going to take time. You need to practice and be repetitive over and over and over again. But if you are feeling overwhelmed all the time, you have a lot of times to practice, right? And it's a work in progress. Don't beat yourself up if you don't do it. Don't judge yourself because you're trying your best. You just need to do 1 or 2 things every single time, 1 or 2 more things every time that will take you away from that feeling of overwhelm. So firstly, just writing the list of what the trigger points are and the habits to get you to the feeling of overwhelm. Then make a list of the counter actions and the new habits that you can start to create to take you away from that feeling of overwhelm, and then just start to practice them 1 at a time. That's all it takes, is just 1 at a time, because if you can prove to your brain that you're doing at least 1 single thing every time you feel overwhelmed to take you away from that point of feeling overwhelmed, you're going to be like, fuck yes, I'm doing this every time, and it's going to start to prove to yourself that you're going to gain more confidence in it, and then eventually you're not even going to feel overwhelmed anymore, because you'll know how to prevent it once you start to feel those feelings inside. So I hope you guys found these tips helpful today. Please, if you do need support with this and you've tried this strategy, it doesn't work, and you feel like you need support with your overwhelm, please reach out to me, coachtaylorvictoria@gmail.com, and we'll be able to sit down and have a conversation about how I can support you in the best way possible. And before you go, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell if you enjoyed today's video. I'm going to be sharing so much more valuable content like this on everything to do with mindset, personal development, basically how to become the best version of you possible. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell. And until the next episode, I'll see you later. Bye!